Intelligent Ramblings with your host, Bill Lofton. Co-hosted by Gary Glenn and William Howington with help from John Cohn.
Well, good afternoon. Here we are on Intelligent Ramblings, and I'm Bill Lofton. I'm your host. Our co-hosts tonight are, as always, Mr. John Cohn and Mr. Gary Glenn. Well, happy Wednesday, everybody.
Good evening, everyone.
Hi.
Once more into the breach.
Well, how's everybody's week been going?
I'm tired.
Yeah, me too.
Yesterday
it was a long day.
I just finished a job that I started last week. Finished it this afternoon. I'm glad to be done with it. It was a good job, but it's demanding.
And it's good it's over.
I went with the kids to my grandsons. Went with them to the Dad's Pro Breakfast, all Pro Breakfast at Buford yesterday morning. But we had to be there before 7 o'clock. And then I worked yesterday and then had to watch them at football practice last night. So it was a very long day, and I'm not real sure I'm recovered yet.
Well, I started my workout regime. I joined Planet Fitness. And
Really?
that last little trip up the mountain got my attention, and I will be prepared next time. It's got pretty much everything you need there. And the best thing is it's got these steps, and they're moving. So it's like you're walking up endless steps, which was what gives me more problems than anything when I'm hiking is going up. So I'm going to get that part of my legs trained, and next time when I go on a hike, I'll be skipping, and jumping instead of feeling like I'm going to die. Is what I felt like.
I'm proud of you, Bill.
But I'm getting my legs in shape because I'm going to do some more. I love hiking. It's just too painful at this point.
And how old are you now?
I am 68.
Well, see, you ought to be able to get in on the Silver Sneakers thing and see if Planet Fitness has got a program. Because if you can, Medicare will pay for your gym membership.
Ooh.
That's true.
Didn't think about
You need to look into that.
Silver Sneakers.
Silver Sneakers is the way to go, baby. That's one of the few perks about getting old. That and getting into some of these youth league football games for free.
Silver Sneakers?
Silver Sneakers.
I will check in that tomorrow. Because they didn't ask me my name, my age, or anything. They just took my money. Well, let's jump to the meat of the situation. Well, did everybody watch the debate last night?
I did.
It's almost most of it. I was a little late getting in because of football practice, but I saw most of it.
Well, I wish William was here tonight, so we'd have somebody on the other edge. You know, I think if Kamala's idea was to piss him off, it worked. He looked like an angry old man 90% of the debate. I mean, looked like an angry old man. Confused.
He treated it like a campaign rally, and it was supposed to be something about issues. And everybody keeps telling him, stay away from the personality stuff, how to concentrate. See, she's vulnerable on a lot of things. And you know, and I'm a member of have been a member of the Journalism Society for a long, long time. I decry the state of journalism. I'm not a real big Trump guy, but I can see some of that reporting is just absolutely slanted. It just is. I mean, I'm sitting there going, no, you know, that's your opinion. Nobody cares about your opinion. You need to be sticking to the facts. Now, he was angry at times, and he kept falling into the same tropes and memes and repeating unsubstantiated things. There wasn't a debate. It was a chance for them to. It wasn't I challenge you on your policy and how are you going to accomplish this when all of the facts show this and this and this? That's a debate when you challenge people's, not their opinions, you challenge their facts. You know, somebody said, I wish I remembered who it was, that you're entitled to your own opinion, but you're not entitled to your own facts. You get indisputable things, and that's what you bring to a debate. This was just a personality test. And last night, I think probably Kamala came out on top of that because she looked more prepared. Of course, now you've already heard the conspiracy that her earrings weren't really earrings. They were earrings, but they were also earbuds that she could be fed facts and stuff like that. And I'm going,
come on.
Now we're way in the weeds here, baby. We're way off somewhere. I mean, you can buy those things that look like that.
But I've got some that look just like my earbuds that I wear. Look like that. Well, you know, I've got a few things here that we can go over. Trump overstates his economic record. Created one of the greatest economies in the world. Well, just offhand, you know of two, Clinton and Ronald Reagan. The economy was better. And that's fairly recent.
Agreed.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
Oh, yeah.
You know, so it wasn't the greatest in the world, and he overstated everything. I mean, his record on manufacturing jobs. Harris said they've created over 800,000 manufacturing jobs, and well, it turns out, you know, that it's more like 739,000 instead of 800,000.
It's rounding.
Well,
yeah, they rounded it up to 800,000, and he bitched about that for 10 minutes.
Well, you know, that's always his thing. Everything's huge. Everything's the greatest ever. Really good, really good.
You know, and some of the things he said were just
really good, better than good, really great, always
some
great.
of the things he said were just outlandish. Trump's when he started talking about abortion and the fact that the Democrats are okay with them 7 month, 8 month, 9 month. Oh, they even delivered a baby in some states and then decide whether or not they're going to keep it. That's murder. No, it's ridiculous. And Kamala was looking at him like he was a fucking from outer space or something. You know, when he started talking that trash. But to me, the kicker of the whole night was the rumor about the immigrants eating the pets.
Go there.
They're eating the pets.
Eating the pets. I saw on Facebook, and I about fell out of my chair laughing, that somebody had marked their pet safe from being eaten tonight.
Well, you know.
I wanted to copy that, but I didn't.
Somebody talked about a dachshund. Yeah, well, it is a hot dog, you know. A wiener dog.
It's an immigrant
yeah, that's
meal.
Well,
that's just wrong, Gary.
See, well, I know. But I wasn't original. I'll give somebody credit. Say, well, that was a Facebook thing, too. Well, a friend of mine said something about that. I think it was Richard Warner. But see, the outlandish things take away from what you could challenge on real substantive issues. You know, so I think, you know, that's the kind of stuff that they wanted him to concentrate on, but he didn't.
No, not at all.
He's doing the same. He's playing the Donald Trump. He's playing the role of Donald Trump. It's weird. It's like he's back on that television show, which I never watched. The whole thing.
While we got a break in action, I just want to say hello to the folks that are viewing with us and welcome y'all to the show.
Yeah, thank you.
Feel free to chat in your thoughts and tell us what you think about whatever we happen to be rambling about.
Hey, really quick, I went to watch the debate last night. I went to a debate watching party, and
Really?
the best responses were from the crowd were when Kamala was giving Trump the side eye over some of his comments, and those all drew really big responses. And I didn't get to stay for the whole thing. I left at 9:30 and listened to the rest of it on the radio while I was driving. And to do that's, I recommend doing that because you get a whole different kind of enthusiasm and get to see what your fellow humans think about the debate right in the moment, which is has its good points and its bad points.
Well,
was it mixed as far as the people in there? Was it all Democrats or all Republicans or?
This
mixed?
was I'm going to show my colors now. This was a Democrat debate watch party, and it was all Democrats. And like I said, interesting, whole new perspective on, crowd energy and enthusiasm. And somebody mentioned, does Trump look like he's wearing a hairpiece? Has he got like a new hairdo or something going on in that picture? I'm just throwing that out there.
It does look different.
I don't think it's a toupee. I think he just styled his hair differently. But what do I know? I never knew Sean Connery wore a toupee during all the James Bond movies, but he did.
No way.
So, yeah.
That's a letdown for me, man. I never knew that.
Well, yeah. I'm pretty sure that's an established fact now. But those days, of course, he kept your hair cut really short, and they had really good hair pieces, so it's hard to tell. You look at him in some of his later movies, he didn't bother with it. He just grew a beard instead. Anyway, so it's a cult of personality. The people that watched their person are going to say, "Oh, we won," and the other people are going to say, "No, we won." It's just a personality thing, which I decry. I wish it were more substantive. I had several things I like to have asked both of them. The other thing is that neither one of them really answered questions a lot of the time.
True.
I mean, they would ask them point blank questions, which sometimes required a simple yes or no, and they wouldn't do it. They were launched in another campaign spiel. God, we've heard that all before. Answer the question.
Well, the thing is, that was Kamala's chance to introduce herself to the country. The people that hadn't seen any of her campaign stuff, and if they hadn't seen it, they don't watch TV. But that was her opportunity to introduce herself to the country. And I think that if they have another debate, it'll be more substantive coming from her. He'll do the same shit he did this time. He'll call names, make these outlandish lies about himself and the things he's done, and the outlandish lies about what Kamala's done in the last 3.5 years. Kamala's the vice president. She doesn't make policy. She follows the president's policy. She implements it, but she doesn't actually, she doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
She goes out, finds out what's going on, and comes back and reports to the president. That was her job. Her job is not make policy. So when he said, "What have you done in the last 3.5 years?" that's not her problem. It's Biden's problem. And I think actually Biden's done some pretty damn good stuff. If you go back and look at the record.
She was put in charge of a few things, but that's the same old kicking the can down the road that all the administrations have done up until this point, talking about immigration. See, nobody wants to answer that real question, that problem either, because you're afraid you're going to piss off all the business people. When illegal immigration occurs, they're either fleeing, they're trying to get away from something, or they're going to something. And in the first of the immigration flood that happened, they came here because regular Americans quit doing jobs for the pay that was offered. And they began to fill those niches because society, like nature, abhors a vacuum. And if there's something empty, then something's going to come in to fill it up. And they filled up all the jobs and the fruit picking and the carpet mills and the poultry industry and all of that. And now some of them are coming in for asylum. I understand that too. But the majority of them came here because American businesses gave them a job. You want to solve your immigration problem? You want to solve your immigration problem? Start saying, well, you either got to pay a wage enough to attract the people who are here, or you've got to find a way to get your people legal, or else they got to go home, or we're going to fine you. And you hit them again economically. And the other thing you can do is you put a tax or a surcharge on every dollar that goes out of this country to another country. If it's France or Canada or Mexico or Colombia or Peru or Germany or England or wherever it is, this is it. And you make a path for people to either become citizens or at least attain legal status, and you give them incentives for that. Otherwise, we're just sitting in the same old. They're just the same old crap we've always had because people are afraid to rock the status quo. You know, the Democrats are afraid to piss off the unions, and the Republicans are afraid to piss off the big business. So now you got people afraid to piss off people on both ends of the spectrum, and that's why nothing ever gets done. Period. And that's economics 101. I'm not Milton Friedman or anything, but even I know that. Sorry, get on a rant.
I don't think people watch debate to hear policy issues. They read about policy. It's to see who can make the other squirm, and squirm he did. I absolutely agree with that, Andrea. She had him squirming the whole time. I mean, you can see in the picture that's up on the board there. That was the face he had the whole time, and he was squirming.
I think that is, Andrea. I think that is true to some degree, but the people who are waffling back and forth, and they want to hear what's going to make my life better. They're not. See that the people who tune in to like fanboys, like John was at a Democratic rally. I'm sure there were Republican rallies all around the country to watch, the debate. They're there to watch their guy. It's like watching a damn football game, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Packers and the Bears. Who are you going to cheer for? Well, it depends on who you're a fan of, right? At least other than the Packers and the Bears, you keep score. I'm not sure anybody was keeping score last night.
Well, there was an instant poll done right after the debate, and just pick a winner and a loser. It was Kamala 63, Trump 37, which interestingly, those numbers were the exact reverse in the first debate between Trump and Joe Biden. It was 63 Trump and 37 Joe Biden immediately after the first debate.
Well, Kamala was at least she was saying what we want to do is we want to give you a tax cut on this and a tax cut on that. We want to do this. We want to do this. We want to do this. We need you to know that we are trying to reestablish the middle class. That is what her presidency is going to be about. And at least she had some positive stuff. He did not say one positive thing the entire debate. And what he said was mostly lies and over-exaggerations. But
he said he would solve the wars in Ukraine and Israel, but he didn't have any details on that. And then
you'll call his buddy Putin.
Saying that,
call his buddy Putin and say, hey, you need to stop this war so I can look good. He don't give a shit about Ukraine.
Yeah, I think he
Uh,
would
Well,
sell Ukraine out pretty quickly.
and he didn't.
He had the
Yeah, well,
he
opportunity.
never he never answered. Yes, I would make sure that it was a Ukrainian victory before the war was settled.
That
He did
was
not-
one of the yes/no questions
Yeah,
that never
Yeah.
got answered yes or no.
And he
And-
never took responsibility for what happened on January the 6th either. But then Kamala would say we're gonna give these people this money and this money and this money. Now, then that's obviously a challengeable thing. Say, okay, what a great idea. Where's that money going to come from? Give me a way where that money is going to come from in a real world, real life situation.
yeah. Trump bragged about how much Viktor Orban thought about him, a despot in Hungary. I mean, who brings up a person that's a dictator and says this dictator in Hungary thinks I'm a great guy, that I'm doing a great job? Of course he would. He's a dictator wannabe. I don't know how people can't see that he is, promised to the first couple weeks he's there, he's going to start going after people. He's going to settle
Well,
up.
what?
He's going
What?
to. Another thing, right quick, is he's going to. He said straight up, "I'm going to pardon all the people that attacked our capital." I mean, he wouldn't even take credit for that. But if those guys would have stood out in front of the Capitol and complained and bitched and moaned and groaned and flew their flags and hollered, bitched and moaned and groaned for 2 days, nobody would have given a shit. But they broke into one of the most sacred places in our country.
Yeah, and that's one thing. And even if he didn't tell them to do that, he could have stopped it with a couple of sentences.
Yeah.
Everybody should go home. This is not what I had in mind. Everybody should go home. But he didn't, and that's on him. But here's what people are going to vote, guys. They're going to vote their pocketbook, and if they think they were better off economically under Donald Trump, they'll vote for Donald Trump.
I
They'll
wouldn't.
overlook
Some of the I'll say
they'll overlook all the character flaws.
some of the voting population will do that. So the
Well-
question is, are there enough people out there who aren't willing to vote for a convicted felon and somebody who's a terrible leader, who is exactly the kind of politician that you do not want to be president? If there's enough people out there that understand that and want to vote that way, then it'll be okay. Economy or not.
I didn't say. Yeah, I didn't say everybody would vote for him. I'm just saying people who think the economy is the bottom line with him.
Well, I think
Well,
there's
some
going to be a
people
lot of
struggle.
people, especially females, that go into there, and I'm encouraging them to do this. Tell your husband you're voting for Trump and go in there and vote for Kamala. And I bet you that happens a lot, because
Yeah.
if you're a female, why wouldn't you? As despicable character he is when it comes to the female part of us, why would you not? Why would you vote for him? That's groped women and bragged about it on national TV. That's he's convicted of assault on a woman, and he's tried to take away the right that the women absolutely have.
Agree. There's so many interesting sides to this campaign. Reasons for and against, and I really want to do my homework and answer for myself the question: are we better off now than we were 4 years ago economically? It's kind of a narrow question.
Yep.
But I would like to know more about that. So
We will look forward to that report, John.
I'll do a little TED talk about that.
Yeah. The other thing, I mean, the abortion is a hot button issue too, and that needs to be clarified. If you're going to have a national policy, I have no problem with the states deciding, but if you're going to have a national policy, then you need to have a national policy about when this collection of cells becomes a person.
Well, there was actually
Now,
something of a standard when Roe v. Wade was still the law of the land. And it was 22 to 24 weeks, depending. The doctor and the mother decided on the viability, and you didn't go past that point unless there was something really wrong with the pregnancy.
right, and people need that needs to be said out loud a lot of times and enumerated, because a lot of people are saying this is just feticide. Well, you talk about the rights of the woman. I understood that, and I'm not really opposed to abortion in all cases. I am opposed to it for birth control purposes. I think that's just lazy. But what about the rights of that person that could be? Just saying.
Well, somebody has to make the decision, and when Roe v. Wade was still the law, I'll just repeat myself here, sorry, but that had all been worked out. The number of weeks, the circumstances around who decides what, all that was in place, which is another reason, that Dobbs' decision just upset so much stuff that had been resolved for 50 years. It's just so stupid.
Well, Andrea, it's interesting to see how the state ballot measures turned out. So far, every state that's voted on it has legalized abortion. Every state. Every election. So,
I suspect that will happen.
Including red states, which is really interesting.
Yes, absolutely.
Well,
guys, we got about 2 minutes left.
Okay.
We got about 2 minutes left. I want to cover two other stories that are going on right now. This guy goes out in Kentucky and starts shooting at motorists and then disappears into the mountains. They're basically scared to death because the guy's still loose. He had an AR out shooting at cars going by. He shot a couple people. Nobody was killed, but they were a couple wounded. And he took off into the mountains. So if you see this guy running around your yard or anything, you want to shoot him. Ask question later. And also, singer's lawsuit adds growing claims against Sean Diddy Combs. There's somebody else coming out, Don Richard, who evidently worked for Sean Combs.
Sean
Diddy Combs. She worked for him and said there was always sexually charged and drug-fueled environment, explosive temper, violent threats, all that good stuff. And last but not least, Campbell's wants to change their name. They want to take the soup off of the can. So it'll be Campbell's Chicken Noodle without the soup.
Why? That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. Does soup offend people?
I don't know. I didn't really, it wasn't much on the story. I just saw it and I was like, what the hell?
I heard that, and I asked, Jill and I were talking about that and said, is soup offensive? I mean, that's what it is.
It must be.
It's
Oh
soup.
my gosh!
All right, we got to go to college
It's
football,
soup.
guys.
All
We're
right,
going to go to
let's go.
quick commercial, and then we're going to go to college football. All right, we are at Campbell's Soup College Football. All right, here we are at College Football 2024. And I didn't do the preamble. Still trying to figure out something else and lost my concentration. So I'm going to do it right now.
You think we can get Campbell's Chicken Noodle to sponsor the show?
Well, now I feel better. How about y'all?
Lots better.
Lots better. Okay, welcome to
Much-
College Football
much better.
2024. This is week 4. Am I right about that? No, week 3.
This is week 3.
Week 3. We're that's right. Our first broadcast was our top 10 special. So this is week 3
This
college
portion-
football.
This portion of the
And,
show brought to you by Campbell's Chicken Noodle.
Chicken noodle. Campbell's chicken noodle. I mean, is that just
Let's get 'em a-
stupid or
let's-
what?
Let's get them to sponsor it. We can promise not to say soup.
We won't say soup ever again. We'll be like Jim Morrison. Campbell's soup. Campbell's soup. Campbell's soup. Nobody's going to get that unless you're in your 60s. You remember what I'm talking about, right? When he went on Ed Sullivan?
Oh, and they told him not to do the lyric, and he did it anyway. And they
He
said
did it.
they said he'll never come back. And he said, "We've done the Sullivan Show." Like, I don't care.
It was absolutely funny, I thought. Well, we had a pretty interesting. Oh shit! We had a pretty interesting weekend in college football.
Yeah.
Think of any notable upsets? Nothing like the Notre Dame game.
Wow.
That was last weekend, right?
That was last weekend.
watched
Northern
that.
Illinois.
I watched that and I was like, wow. I turned it on in the fourth quarter. I'd been watching something and I was like, this is boring. I'm going to just kind of flip around and check the scores. And then I saw Notre Dame and they were like close. And I was like, oh, this could get interesting. And Notre Dame, Northern Illinois just ran it down their throat. And that poor quarterback, Riley Leonard, I think's his name, from Notre Dame, was running for his life, and he wasn't throwing well. I've never seen him play that bad, but this reminds you that at any given Saturday,
Mm-hmm.
teams can lose to anybody,
You know,
pretty much.
Vince Dooley was always accused of being the ultimate pessimist, and when we would go to his press conferences back when I was covering Georgia football on a regular basis, and Vince would say things like, "This punter has got the greatest, quickest feet of anybody I've ever seen punting the ball," and we're all going, "Yeah, coach, so he gets a lot of practice punting the ball because they can't ever get a first down," but, that kind of thing. But and he was saying, he said, "People always accuse me of being a pessimist." He said, "I'm a realist. I have to prepare to meet the team that could be playing the best they've ever played on that particular day." And I got to thinking about that, and there's a lot of truth in that. If they are playing the best they can ever play, and you're having an off day, that's when upsets happen.
Anybody can beat anybody. I mean, you got to keep that in the back of your mind every time. My senior year, we were ranked like 4th or 5th in the state in our division. And homecoming night, we played Winder, who we regularly beat for years. They beat us 28-7.
Hmm.
Had this running back, Johnny. Shit, I can't think of his name. But he was about 175-pound running back, and he just ran over us. The kicker was that the guard I was playing linebacker, so I had to deal with a guard all night. He was the smallest guard that I played against all season. He still outweighed me 20 pounds, but he was the smallest one all season. He stayed in my face the whole night. You know, I made a substantial amount of tackles, but I was being harassed the whole time. And normally, I would just come up and clock whoever was blocking me, stun them, and then take off. And that's how I was able to, you know, say lead the team in tackles, but I was either the lead tackler or close to it. Pretty much every game I ever played in. But I'm not saying that as a brag, I'm saying that as a fact. And this guy kept me, I was off balance all night. And our homecoming dance was to a loss. Now, we didn't lose again until the playoffs. That was the only loss we had all season. I will say, John,
that helps.
I think that the team I played on as junior was better than the team I played on as a senior. I had John Cone right there to my left. and as he will attest, about 75% of the plays that as we were walking out of the huddle, walking the line, I turned to John and I said, "Who you got?" He'd tell me who he's going to get, and I ain't paying attention to the plays. I'd say, "Who you got?"
Were probably saying that to Rob McEver or Ronnie Smith because I was sitting on the bench.
You were playing some. I do remember playing with you beside me. Absolutely. McEver was playing tight end.
We got a question from Tim. Do you see that one, Bill? About
What's
playing.
Your thoughts on well, I'll tell you what. That kid, you can't fault that kid for going to Kentucky. Brent Vandegrift. He is a legitimate quarterback. And I think he would have been our number one quarterback next year, but he stayed there for 2 years. And his third year, his junior season, he wasn't going to get to play very much because Carson Beck had the job. So why would a 5-star quarterback stay another year and have 1 year remaining to play? Why wouldn't he transfer?
He's got aspirations of playing at the next level. I saw him play when he was playing for Prince Avenue Christian over in the Athens, Watkinsville area. And he's the real deal. So he's going to have something. He's going to have something, a little bit of a chip on his shoulder. I think that's unavoidable. I still think Georgia's going to win. But Vandegrift is a good quarterback, although he didn't get a chance to show it much last weekend.
He was running for his life. Too. He was running for his life. I mean, they put it on him.
Well, that's why football is the ultimate team sport. I've had people arguing about basketball, and I said, no, it's football. Football is the ultimate team sport because you can have somebody like Vandegrift who could basically throw it from end zone to end zone. But if he doesn't have a line who can protect him or receivers who can catch the ball, I mean, okay, great. Got a wonderful arm, but the offense is going nowhere because everybody else sucks. I think he's legit. If they can finally put it together, I think he could cause Georgia some problems. I mean, we do have some.
I agree, Gary. And there's a lot of other things like this is the first week this season that Georgia will play at night. So they'll be playing under the lights for the first time. And they're, Clemson apparently, when they played Georgia, to hear Clemson say it, their real actual team didn't show up. And then last week we had Tennessee Tech, not much of a test. So this is like Georgia's first real test.
Well,
and it could be squirrely before it gets over with.
well, let's go ahead and we'll start pulling up our picks. University of Kentucky got South Carolina stuck it to them last week, and showed all its vulnerabilities. So my best guess is the fact that this is not going to be a tough game for Georgia. I think Georgia will take them by 21. I think you're wrong, John. I think the fact that Clemson got their ass whipped by Georgia on national TV fired them up. And I think Clemson Tigers are going to be somebody we may have to deal with again, and it'll be a total different scenario. They're going to get that quarterback where he's relaxed and trust himself. And whenever they do that, and they probably did it when they were playing last week and just layered it to Appalachian State, beat them bad. And Appalachian State is a good program. So look out for Clemson. Don't. I like those Tigers. They're my number 2 team. But I think we're all in agreement that Kentucky is in trouble this week.
They're not going to be in Georgia's class. I do not think. Thanks to Tim for the question, though, and he's my brother from another mother. This is the famous Tim Moon, by the way, who is at one time was the strongest person in the history of the world over the age of 50 on the bench press. He had, regardless of weight, at one time he had a bench of around 824 pounds.
Holy
stupid.
Ned.
That's stupid. Jesus Christ, that's a lot of weight. That's a lot of weight. Tim, I'm pleased to say that I am proud to say that I know Tim, and I'm aware of his strength, feats of strength, and have had the pleasure of being able to photograph him in a meet. It's been several years now, but I've still got the photos. You're a big boy too. And he's strong.
Yeah, he's lost a lot of weight, and that's a good thing, And it's like, I mean, I know you like to push all the heavy weight stuff, brother, but I'm glad to see him trim it down a little bit. It's going to be better for his health in the long run, really. Well, now he's still 4 times as strong as any normal man, but that's.
He's not normal.
No, he's not.
University of Texas, San Antonio at Texas.
Ow. That's like a 60-point game right there.
That's going to be a lot.
That's
the over-under could be 70 points.
That's John, I want to give you an assignment.
Yes, sir.
I want you to, next week, explain what the over and under and the under and over and the minus and the plus and all that for betting goes. It's all now pretty much legal anywhere, so I don't see how, but it is.
You mean people
let's
actually
do that,
bet on
and
these? They
I
bet
might
on these
bring
games?
in our in-house betting expert, William Howington, to help out with those explanations.
Okay, let's talk about that next week. All right, we're all in agreement. Texas.
Yes.
Alabama at Wisconsin. Wisconsin managed to get past South Dakota 27-13. That's South Dakota, 27-13. Pretty good ball club. But Alabama is a whole lot better than South Dakota. Alabama by 14 in a slugfest.
I agree. And what is the connection between Alabama and Wisconsin that got Alabama to go on to schedule a road game at Wisconsin? Do like some of the coaches know each other? Do the athletic directors know each other?
No idea.
Question.
It's like the Georgia-Oklahoma series that never happened. They just, looking for a team to schedule and say, hey, why don't we play Wisconsin? Or Wisconsin says, why don't we play Alabama? Let me call down there and see if I can work something out. And it's like a cross sectional game to draw interest. And I imagine in a couple of years, Wisconsin will be down at Alabama playing.
Well, the Badgers are no stranger to the SEC. Georgia played them in a bowl game. Remember, it's been years ago, but they did play them.
Wisconsin's always had a great running game.
Yeah.
And
what
that
was
could
his
be
name?
a problem for Alabama.
Ron Dane.
Yeah. But they've had a slew of big backs come out of Wisconsin. It's like they're second in the country as running back university. I mean, they've always got, some big running back in the back that likes to run over, and their line is huge. They just can't throw. So we'll see.
And I think they had didn't the kid from the punter from West Hall go and play for Wisconsin? Tony Lottie's son. And allow me to correct something from last week. Coach Lottie is not at Appalachia anymore. He's at Second now. So
He's
he
where?
coached at West Hall. He's at Seconder, the new school over there, and he's got them winning games. So he's a good coach. And his son punted. I'm pretty sure it was Wisconsin.
Coach Lottie is a good coach. I had a lot of respect for him.
All right, what's next?
Okay. Wake Forest got slighted by Virginia by 1 point last week. They lost. Ole Miss will make it by 1 point and 27 more. I think they're going to beat them by 4 touchdowns. They're just a different league, different everything. Wake Forest had a couple good years there, last couple of years, and I think they lost their coach. Didn't he go? Where'd he go to?
Don't remember.
Don't know.
Maybe another 20 years before they have a contender in the ACC. But right now they're not a contender, and they lost to Virginia by a point, so we know they're not that good because Virginia's not that good. So
I'm going to say Lane Kiffin runs it up again this week, and I think it's going to be more like 35 point. They'll win by 5 touchdowns.
all right, you want to do a side bet, John? I got 28, you got 35.
Let's do it.
All right, let's do a $5 side bet, you and me.
Put $5 on it. Let's go.
Okay, whoever's closest to the score. Y'all, we recorded that on national webcastery. It's not national television. It's national webcastian.
That's what we're doing, right? We're
Webcast division.
conducting
Yeah, well-
webcastery.
Yes. Webcastery. Okay, so it's recorded.
You guys are, Mississippi's a good football team. They're going to beat them by a bunch. I'll let y'all bet on it.
Boston College made FSU's season even worse in the opener this year and stomped Duquesne last week. But their undefeated run was slammed to a stop when they run into the Missouri Red Light, Missouri, by 14.
Yeah,
I agree
Tigers
with
should
that
have
one.
Once again, you've got a pretty decent Boston College team. Pretty decent, but it's ACC, pretty decent. It's not SEC, pretty decent. And Missouri is getting to the upper level of the SEC. And we all know if you get to the upper level of the SEC, you're hard to deal with by anybody in the country. Top 4 or 5 teams in the SEC can beat the pants off pretty much anybody in the country, with a few exceptions.
Well, we pretty much know that by the end of the year, when they have that 12-team playoff, most of those teams are going to be from the Southeastern Conference.
Well, in AP this week, 6 out of the top 7 teams in the AP top 20 were from the SEC. 6 out of 7. The only one that's
shock.
in there was Ohio State.
Mm-hmm.
The only other team.
Well, they deserve to be in there. They're really pretty good.
Yeah, they are. They're pretty good. I think they're going to get their butt kicked before the season's over. I was hoping it was going to be by Penn State, but I don't think Penn State beat them now. What do you say, Gary? We all on Missouri?
Yeah,
We're all picking Missouri.
Mighty Mo.
Kent State at Tennessee. Kent State got thrashed by Pitt and beaten by none other than St. Francis wherever the hell that is, Pennsylvania, one of the smallest Division I schools in the nation. This will be a long day for Kent State, and the Volunteers of Tennessee will be shooting easy targets. Tennessee by 50. Because we know Tennessee ain't going to stop. If they can score 80, they'll score 80.
It could be that high. I think it's going to be a fast game for the first 3 quarters because Tennessee's just going to go up and down the field. And then the score is going to be so bad, they're just going to let the clock run the whole 4th quarter. And so the game could be over in 2 hours and 15 minutes.
Is there a mercy rule in college?
No.
Well, there's not, but occasionally they'll put something like that in, like John said, a running clock. Or Georgia and Tennessee Tech, remember, is only a 10-minute 4th quarter. Wasn't 15, it was 10.
Yeah, I think they kind of do a little survey of the coaches, like at the end of the 3rd quarter, and if both coaches agree, I could see Kirby Smart say, "Yeah, let the clock run."
Yeah. And I mean, you've proved you got your exposure. If you're a Tennessee Tech or Kent State, you got the exposure, you got the money. Let's get out of here with the least chance we have of getting any of our people hurt as we possibly can.
1.6 million is what they're getting. Tennessee.
Running clock, shortened quarter, maybe both.
Oregon at Oregon State. Oregon State has won 2 close calls to Idaho State and San Diego State, but Oregon is still an upper tier program, although they haven't shown much this far, so far this year. It will be down the wire, Oregon by 3.
I think it's going to be a close game too, and I think Oregon looks like they can't figure out who they are after Bo Nix is gone. And but I think they can beat Oregon State.
Agreed.
Well, I think that Oregon State hates them enough that they'll like Georgia and Georgia Tech playing.
Yeah.
I mean, Tech always plays us a good game. They can go 1-10, and still it's going to be a close score. Rare opportunities that rare times that we're able to run the score up on Tech. Here's another nail biter. Ball State has played only 1 game, and they won by 8 points to Missouri State. Miami has trounced Florida and Florida A&M. Miami by 35.
I think Miami looks good, and I think they're going to beat Ball State by 35. I don't know. I think that, quite frankly, they're kind of overrated at number 10.
I was going to say the opposite. I think they're underrated.
You do?
Yeah, I think it ought to be maybe 8. I think they
Well,
got a serious ball club. They got an ass whooping on Florida. I mean, they tore them
Yeah,
up.
they did.
I mean, it wasn't even. There was not even a ball game after the 1st quarter, and I believe they could have put more points on them if they wanted to.
The Hurricanes are going to they're going to be able to blow this one away, so to speak.
Funny. South Carolina's playing LSU, but they got them in Columbia. South Carolina barely got past Old Dominion in the opener, but it looked like Beamer Ball 2 against Kentucky. LSU got off to a bad start with a loss to an upgraded USC, then pounded Nicholls State. Ooh, big win. Going to be close, but it will be Beamer Ball once again in the upset. The Gamecocks will crow by 7.
Wow.
I think I'm disagreeing with you on this one here. I think LSU. They had the chance to work it out. I think they win, maybe by 7.
I don't know. I hear you, Bill, about it. Beamer Ball, and they're playing at home. but it's usually about this point in the season where LSU kind of wakes up and says, "Oh yeah, we're good. We're going to play ball." And so I think LSU for this game.
I really like Shane Beamer. I think he's done a really good job at South Carolina, and he's legitimizing them slowly, but it will happen. And we don't play them this year. I'm glad of it.
That's weird.
Arizona State at Kansas State. In a wild one on the Bayou, Kansas State outlasted a good Tulane team 34-27 and will continue its winning ways against Arizona in a close one, K-State by 7.
I think here's where I disagree with you again. John, I believe according to my picks, I picked Arizona tonight.
I think I'm going to go with Kansas State and LSU, South Carolina, the previous game we talked about, and Arizona at Kansas State. I have gone back and forth about both of those games. So those are, to me, those are both could go either way.
All right.
And last but not least, well, that's not, yep, no.
Next to last but not least.
Next to last, Vanderbilt at Georgia State. Vanderbilt had a pretty good win against Virginia Tech, and I think they would continue that and put it on Georgia State, but I don't think it'll be a big win. I think maybe by 10.
That's pretty much my feeling. I mean, Georgia State.
So sorry, Gary.
I'm just saying Georgia State's pretty good in their league, but I think Vandy's still in the SEC, even though they don't play up with the level of a Georgia or an Alabama. But I think Vandy can handle Georgia State. But I think it's going to be pretty close too, Bill.
I should be true to my alma mater, Georgia State, and pick them, but you're right, Gary. Vanderbilt, even though they're Vanderbilt, they're playing in the SEC, and so I've got Vanderbilt in this one.
Now, last but not least, but maybe, Kennesaw State at San Jose. Kennesaw State is 0-2 and will continue its losing ways to San Diego State by 21. I think they're going to get thumped.
I think the Owls will get their wings clipped here.
I was just looking to see what their mascot is, and
The Aztecs?
no, they're Gary, you're saying
They're the Owls, aren't they? In Kennesaw State, the Owls.
they are the Owls. Yeah, they're going to
Indeed.
get their. It's going to be a long plane ride home for those guys. I think San Jose State wins big time.
Well, that's pretty much our picks for next week. Right now, as we speak, I don't have the graphic for it, but the percentages are: Gary is on top at 83%. Williams comes in second at 79, who's tied with John Cone at 79. And I'm carrying up the end at 75%. But let's not forget last year. I made a valiant comeback and overtook most of them. I think.
Well, if
Gary,
we forget it, we're counting on you to remind us about it.
I will remind you. I think
I
Gary,
came out on top.
Yeah, Gary won last year, but I think I got second or third, but I know I didn't get last. Anyway, We'll have a quick break, and then we'll come back with the final remarks. Well, this is our finishing remarks. I haven't said it right in 3 weeks. Our finishing remarks. I think we covered a pretty good bit on the debate. I'm thinking that we all agree that Kamala came on top, but we still didn't get enough substantial information that we're looking for. We'd like to hear more of, okay, you're going to give a $6,000 tax break to first-time families. Okay, where are you getting the money? What do you? I mean, we're already $1 trillion in debt. We don't want to be farther in debt. Guys, what do you got to say?
I would like to wish my wife Jill a very happy birthday today.
Happy
Happy birthday,
Jill!
Around the country, of course, this is a very solemn occasion, but I have to point out she had that birthday a long time before 2001. You know, last week we celebrated our 47th wedding anniversary, and I don't know how that's possible since Jill's only 39, but, you know, that's the way it is. Love you, honey. I hope you have many, many more, and I hope they're all happy.
We all love you, Jill.
Yes, we do.
All right, guys. Good show. We'll be back next week here on Intelligent Ramblings. You can go to Intelligent Ramblings Friends, which is our Facebook group, and absolutely join us there, and you look for other comments, and you can also comment yourself there on the Facebook page, or you can comment after this video is done. I will have the college football portion of our show out sometime tonight. And you can watch that on our Intelligent Ramblings College Football show, which is rebroadcast. Give me 45 minutes to an hour.
Cool.
It's called Intelligent College Football. Thanks.
All right. Enjoyed it, guys.
Me too. I enjoyed it too.
See you next
All
week.
right. Always good to talk with you. See you. Have a good night. Have a good week.